Hello, welcome to our Epsom Oaks preview. We are currently 10 days away from the first day of the Epsom Derby meeting, and today we will be discussing the Oaks, taking a view that that one essentially looks a better field to have an Antepost bet in that stage. It's a bit more clear on who's running. Aidan O'Brien's let us know who his three likely runners are, and there's a short price favourite that I suspect both Daniel and I will be looking to take on. So should we get straight into it by discussing Desert Flower? 2-1, unbeaten, impressive winner of the 1,000 guineas. After the result in Ireland, I know Lake Victoria went on to win, but I'm starting to have question marks about the form of the 1,000 guineas. And you have concerns over her pedigree. Do you want to touch on that a bit deeper?
Yeah, 2-1. In many ways, she's difficult to take on. She's a champion 2-year-old who came back and really did it in the first Classic of the season, only run at 3. She settles. She represents the most powerful connections in Europe at the moment for doing this kind of thing in a Classic. What's not to like, apart from that small matter of 4 more furlongs than she's ever run? Now, on the positive side, the filly who wins the Fillies Mile end of season as a juvenile, they'll usually stretch out a lot further than that as a 3-year-old, or at least a couple of furlongs. But the big question here is the breeding. Night of Thunder, miler, produces a lot of top sprinters and milers, but just occasionally gets a really good 10 furlong horse. And Economics, I think, is the one that really stands out there. But no progeny of Night of Thunder has ever run a decent race over this trip, 12 furlongs. And on the Dam side, they're American, but Dam and Dam Sire, they both tried 12 furlongs once in their lives. And in both cases, it was their worst race, pretty much on their CV. When it's a short price, and certainly when it's a short price in an anti-post market, I don't want to take a risk with a filly trying something completely new that's not necessarily on the pedigree page. That's not to say she doesn't have the class to win. She might not win. And if people who want a 2-1 on the day go in and think, I'll give it a whirl because she's got so much class, I get it. I won't go there myself.
Yeah, likewise. However, I do feel, moving on to the Ballydoyle Challenge, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the winner will come from one of these 3 horses. I don't think, Desert Flower will have the stamina. And these 3 have all come from trials which test your stamina significantly more, have pedigrees that suggest they'll stay further. And it's Aidan O'Brien, and he's having another exceptional season. The shortest price currently is Minnie Hauk. She's around 5-1. Then there is Gisele at 7-1 and Whirl at 7-1. So Minnie Hauk won at Chester. It's going to be difficult to remember all these. Gisele won at Lingfield and Whirl won the Musadora in that sort of 2-week period where Brown was winning everything. For me, Whirl is the most interesting at 7-1. I like her most on the pedigree. I like the way she won the York race more so than the others won their respective trials. Gisele, I was a bit concerned about having Newspaper of Records as the dam. She wouldn't have. She was all speed, Newspaper of Records, wasn't she? And she was obviously a stunning 2-year-old.
Yes, Gisele, multiple Group 1 winning filly over a mile.
Yeah. You can say that her trial was over a mile 3.5, but it was a 3-runner race where she dawdled out the front. Does she necessarily have the stamina in a proper Oaks trial where first 3 furlongs are all uphill? The question I'll pose to you is, who do you think Ryan Moore's going to ride?
Well, if you go with the market, you might think that the market might price as the shortest price the one they think Ryan is going to ride. Like today, for example, De La Croix crashed into 11-4 favouritism for the Derby after Brian comments that how could Ryan, it's unlikely that Ryan Moore won't ride De La Croix. If you take that logic to this race, then it's maybe Minnie Hauk, who We know she kept the trip. I don't think there's any doubt about that at all after that Chester trial. And it was her debut, seasonal debut. And I was against her that day because a lot of Aidens this season, generally, but particularly this season, have been pretty dull on debut and then improved leaps and bounds for it. So the fact that she was able to take that race means she's got to have a chance. I just find her somehow less exciting than the other two. There's no wow factor there. The form of her 2-year-old races amounts to really nothing. Certainly her 2-year-old win. We don't know yet what the Chester form is like, but no, she doesn't excite me like you. I'm pretty keen on Whirl. I'm pretty keen on Gisele for different reasons. Whirl, I think, is like the head and the form book, as well as the eye, says Whirl. The irrational side to me, this filly could be really special, is with Gisele. So I don't quite know which way I'm going on that. Well, I've got a bit of Antepost on Gisele, so I have gone there a long while back. But put it this way, if I had to put on a bet now, I might bet Whirl each way if I was sure she was running. I know we got that steer from O'Brien, but Tabor did say after Musadura, maybe more Diana wouldn't get involved with this fella yet. So that would be at the back of my mind. But Gisele, if I got involved, that would only be a win only. I could see her winning this Oaks well, and I could see her blowing out. A little bit of temperament there.
Yeah. I'm actually going to come at from sort of the different, same outcome, but different history where I've backed Whirl after the Musadora, and I'm quite tempted to back Gisele now. I think she could have Ryan Moore on board. She went off at 8-11 in her maiden, unfortunately finishing behind Bedtime Story, but the amount of confidence behind her to send her off at 8-11 with Ryan Moore on board against the filly that went on to win by 10 lengths or 9 lengths at Royal Ascot says how much they think of her. They do tend to like Lingfield. I mean, they probably prefer Lingfield and Chester as Oaks and Derby trials, so encouraging that she went there. So yeah, I think I will probably back Gisele in the next couple of weeks or so, the next couple of days or so, follow the prices a bit, see if you can get any 8s or anything bigger. So I think money for Whirl will start to come. She's going to have the momentum behind her after it's announced that she's going here rather than Epsom, so there must be a positive decision as to why she's doing that.
She's the one with the line of blue on Oddschecker of the three. Today, but maybe that's just a hangover from O'Brien's comments confirming that the three would go where there was more doubt over her, wasn't there?
Yeah. So both of us keen on at least 2 of the Ballydoyle. So if you'd like to touch them, I will have ended up having essentially touched them if we're both backing the others other than we've already backed. So yeah, hopefully the winner will be coming from Aidan O'Brien's station, Aidan O'Brien's yard, and it will not be Minnie Hauk. Moving on, we have the ultra-talented Falakea. So she is unbeaten, and she was pretty stunning at Newmarket when making all. Although she's a line of pink on Oddschecker today, and it feels like a mile and forward stretcher. She's more likely to potentially go to the Coronation or maybe even the Prix de Diane.
Yes, connections have been. I read something just a couple of hours ago. The latest on that from Owen Burrows was that. Sorry, Owen Burrows signed bin Cyril. So Owen. No, that's right. This is the Owen Burrows filly. It's the side bin Cyril. We'll come to in a minute. To the effect that, as well as being the most talented filly he's ever trained, they are still agonising over the 3 options. They're still in the mix. So supplement for Coronation, take her to the Prix Diane. Or come here, and he's given the 3 negatives. The Diane could be drawn out in the car park. Coronation, they've got to pay money to get her in there, but you would have thought Shadwell could probably afford it. And here is the set. It's the headstrong thing, isn't it? She ran like she was almost, I'm say with the choke up. She ran quite free at Newmarket, and a lot of people watched. She might fall in a hole, and she absolutely didn't. She just kept going. The time was fast. She thrashed some horses who were quite well fancied. One of them is lower down in the betting here, really, what the trainer really likes. It'd be really exciting if she ran. There'd be another stamina doubt. But I think you'd be very bold to back her Antepost with the doubts of whether she's running.
Yeah, agreed. If they have the stamina concern and the run style concerns, I think you have to go to the Prix d'Anne, really, don't you? The Coronation looks such a hot race with Lake Victoria being so impressive, Zaragana going, and then the British fillies all going there. I would be a lot more inclined to head to France.
Desert Flower joining them drops back to the Coronation. He fades 2 furlongs out in this.
Yeah.
It's unlikely, but she's still in the market.
Yeah. So that leaves their potential super sub, Elwatine, a respectable 4th in the 1,000 guineas. Do you think she's improved for being stepped up in trip?
I think she's only had the 2 runs, isn't it? Maiden win and the guineas and the guineas fourth. She must have bags of talent. Whether or not, looking the way she ran in the guineas, whether or not she was crying out for extra, although I don't think there's any reason on pedigree to say she wouldn't be able to do this. I mean, certainly 10 furlongs should be no problem. I didn't see visually enough in that to make me think, oh, she was flying at the end. This is what she wants. But you'd respect if they supplement. And as this is, as I say, 2 Shadwells, this and Falakay, you'd think they'll think they'll have 1 in here. So I think this one will go. I don't think I'll back her. Watch with interest. Guineas trial for these things is, is an angle some people like, and she'll be there representing the form as well as Desert Flower.
Yeah. Okay. So the next horse that we move on to, Lake Victoria, is next in the betting at about 16. There's no way she goes. I would be shocked if they sent her. I think she'd have more chance of winning the Commonwealth Cup than she would winning over 12 furlongs. So unless you want to jump in otherwise to talk about her, but we'll move on to the Newbury fillies trial pair. So that's Killing Queen and Revoir. Revoir in particular, I could not back with stolen money at 10-1. I cannot believe she's that short. I don't see it at all.
Okay, right. It's interesting. So we got two decent fillies here. They ran well, 1-2 in that fillies contest at Newbury. You mentioned Killing Queen. Edward was very disappointed that she was beaten so badly behind Falakay. Of course, we know that one is. We think that one is really special. So maybe it was no disgrace, but he felt that was more like it, and she's almost certainly going to the Oaks. But the money, as you alluded to, the money in the last couple of weeks has been all for Revoir. I think she's very briefly 25s, maybe for the day after that, and then she's she's steadily been cut day after day after day. To the point where she's best priced 10s. I agree that feels very short. I kind of get the preference of the market between the two. In the Killing Queen's had five runs at least. Yeah. And this Revoir's debut, only the 2nd run in her life. Beckett with his magic touch with fillies, knows how to train an Oaks winner. I get it. Like you, she's too short for me to go to now. I would have been interested before all the money, more than after in price, but no, I think not now.
Yeah, it's rated 97. Just going to need to improve £20. It's a lot to ask. We move on from Revoir to Joseph O'Brien's We Might Take a Long Way. It's quite a bizarre name. Is she a bit of a wild card for Joseph O'Brien?
We're definitely on the pronunciation. I think you've got to have an Irish accent to say this properly, by the way. We might take it a long way. You've kind of got to respect Joseph O'Brien, haven't you? She's actually got form with, I think she beat, is it Whirl or Gisele? I think it's Whirl as a juvenile.
It's Minnie Hauk.
There's a Minnie Hauk. Okay, sorry, thank you. Right, well, one of the 3. There you go. So a little bit of collateral form there. Beaten on reappearance. Then won well in a Group 3 in Ireland. Why not take a chance? I mean, she's got to step up, and I don't know what she beat in that. It's an outsider I can understand. I wouldn't have betting interest in her, but yeah, respect the stable, and has an outside chance.
Yeah, looking through her form, it looks like she might want a bit of cut on the ground. So one to watch with respect to the weather. Any of the other wild cards interest you? Go Boots was well regarded going into the Musadora, but obviously put in her place by Whirl. Janie Mackers is liked by David Manouzier. either of these two outsiders appeal to you?
I guess anyone who would say to themselves, hang on, the Gosdens have got a filly in the Oaks and it's 40-1 in a 10-horse field or whatever it turns out to be, I'll have a bit of that each way. I can understand that angle. Maybe she wasn't at her best. York, it was the Musadora. She was behind Whirl, and as you say, well beaten in that. Not every horse likes York. I mean, Epsom has its own challenges, of course, but I don't think anyone would be mad to have a flutter on that if she turned up. I don't know if connections are serious, and I would suspect it would be owner-driven rather than trainer-driven. But it'd be interesting to listen to news flow, because Gosden, and these classics has to be given a second look, particularly if it's an extreme price like that. And yeah, Jenny Mackis was desperately disappointing on her only seasonal run here, and I think she's been pulled out of a race since. But we know Minnie likes her if he runs her. A bit like he was very keen on Tamfana before Tamfana had done anything of note. He was saying this is a really good filly, and people were saying, well, maybe. And then she turned out to be a really, really good filly. He was right. It's on this one at 50-1.
He is often very bullish, Minnie. I'm starting to take more of what he says with a pinch of French salts. In fact, he very much likes his horses. I think he's very easily persuaded and maybe a bit of a romantic in a classical French sort of way. Jenny Mackers, I'd say, if she gets big and if she goes, it could definitely be interesting. So I will hand over to you, Daniel, for the summary. But from what I get a sense so far, it's definitely Ballydoyle brilliance that we're hoping for.
Yes, we got the big star, the unbeaten Desert Flower, who still, could rate higher than she already rates. We don't know. We're against her. We have strong suspicion that she'll be running on fumes in the last furlong and a half of this race, because the Ballydoyle contingent, they know what the world knows is that the one big question mark is stamina. So they're not going to let it be a dawdle so she can sprint home. They'll make it a proper test. I imagine one of the three will head on, possibly Gisele, and make it a test. Like you, Gisele and Whirl. Interesting fillies, and who knows how high they could rate. Really looking forward. And unlike the Derby, which is a much bigger field, more unknowns about the whole run to get there, this is starting to get a sort of crystal shape. So anyway, good luck to whoever you play.
Yeah, and do as I always say, let us know who you like in the comments. Like to respond, like to read them, like to hopefully try and develop a bit of a community around the Anteposter. So please like, subscribe, head to our website, follow us on X at the Anteposter. We'll leave some details in the description, and appreciating any feedback that we've been receiving so far. So thank you very much. We'll be doing a few more Antepost previews for various races in the next couple of weeks. So look out for those, and we look forward to hearing from you. Bye.